Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com.
What is the Kashrus status of breast milk? And is it considered Milchig or Pareve? May an adult place a little bit of the breast milk on his tongue to see if it's hot, such as if a woman is warming up a bottle for her child of pumped breast milk, and she would like to make sure that it's not too hot for her child to taste? And what is its status of basar v'chalav? Does it have to be kept together with the milchig stuff, or can it even be washed together with fleishik? What happens if in the middle of the Shabbos table, the Shabbos meal, a little bit spilled from the bottle into a fleishik food? And so on and so forth. So first and foremost, we must establish the Kashrus status of human milk, and only then move on to its status of Pareve or Milchig. So we have a clear ruling in the Mechaber in chapter 81, halacha 7 in Yeridea, based on the Gemara in Ksubis, Daf Samuch, that human breast milk is kosher for consumption once it is pumped out of the woman. And the novelty of this statement is that although in general we rule kol hayetze mehatreifa, whatever comes out of a non-kosher animal is likewise treif, is likewise non-kosher, and therefore since you can't eat human meat, seemingly we should say that likewise human milk is not kosher. Nonetheless, we rule that this does not apply by a human, which is only forbidden in consumption due to a positive command. So explains the Berhetiv in chapter 81, halacha 2 in Yeridea. The Shach explains there that it's permitted to consume human milk even lechatchila. There's no isser whatsoever involved in doing so once it's pumped out of the woman, and it may be consumed by any person. Nonetheless, there's two important points that need to be mentioned regarding the Kashrus status. Point number one is that this is only regarding the milk of a Jewish woman. However, the breast milk of a Gentile woman, even though min hadin it is kosher, as the same logistics of allowance apply, nonetheless drinking milk of a Gentile, writes the Ramah, can bring what's called timtum halev, clogging of the heart, and spiritual numbness. So it's an interesting status of being kosher on the one hand, and on the other hand being able to clog the heart, which is a similar effect of non-kosher food. The second point is, as the Kaf HaChaim points out in 8729, that this understanding that it's mutter even lechatchila to drink breast milk was only applicable in previous times when people wouldn't abstain from doing so. It wasn't viewed as repulsive or disgusting. Over today, practically in the modern world, that for an adult or for anyone who's been weaned from his mother to drink breast milk is considered repulsive. So it therefore returns to becoming part of those foods that are not allowed to be eaten due to repulsiveness, which is under the rabbinical prohibition of Baal Teshakhtsu. And therefore, indeed, concludes the Kaf HaChaim that practically today, due to this issue, it is forbidden lechatchila to consume human breast milk, even of a Jew, unless, of course, when it's a nursing baby, in which case, of course, it is allowed. Now for the discussion of its status of Milchig or Pareve. So it's explained in Yeridea chapter 87, halacha 4, that human milk has an interesting status. So it is not considered real milk, according to halacha, and therefore does not technically enter into the basar v'chalav prohibition at all, as the Torah only prohibits the meat and milk that come from kosher animals, meaning kosher species, and human flesh is not a kosher species that is allowed to be eaten. And therefore, likewise, its milk is excluded from the basar v'chalav prohibition. In simple terms, human milk is technically considered pareve, and therefore, from the letter of the law, you can even eat it together with meat. Nonetheless, the Mechaber there brings, based on the Rashba, that it's forbidden to cook it with meat due to maras ayin, as the onlooker doesn't know the difference if it's real milk of a cow or another kosher animal, or milk of a woman which is pareve, and you make him to think it's mutter to cook basar v'chalav. And therefore we have the concept of maras ayin applicable to this case. Practically, this does not have much of a ramification, as we already stated, we are no longer accustomed to consume human milk, and we definitely don't mix it with chicken or meat. So the discussion is theoretical at best. However, where the practical application does come into play is regarding the case we opened with, in which some of this breast milk fell into a fleishik food, or with regards to which sink should you wash the baby bottle in that contains pumped breast milk. So the answer to these two matters are as follows. The isser of maras ayin is only applicable when you intentionally add it to a meat food. However, if it fell in by mistake, like it spritched into the food, then it's not a problem. And you definitely don't need 60 times against it, and some places can even say you don't even need majority against it. So practically there's no need to abstain from bringing the baby bottle of pumped breast milk to the Shabbos table, and even if some accidentally spritches into the meat foods, this does not pose a kashrus issue at all. Obviously, if the baby bottle is not breast milk, but something like Materna or another Milchig-based baby formula, then this would be a biblical issue if it fell into hot meat. Obviously, it remains forbidden to initially put the breast milk into the meat, as we already stated earlier, that this is an isser of marasayin. Now, regarding whether one may wash the bottle of breast milk in a Milchig sink, or whether it should only be washed in a dairy sink, or a dairy dishwasher as opposed to a meat dishwasher. So in the previous stated halacha that there is maras ayin involved in mixing breast milk with meat, there in truth exists debate as to whether this prohibition applies even to simply mixing it together or only to eating it together. And likewise, there is a debate regarding if it applies if it is mixed together while hot, meaning you cook it together, or even cold. Practically based on all this, it's permitted min adin to wash your baby bottle of pumped breast milk in the Milchig sink, even if there's meat inside the Milchig sink, if you don't use yatzer lettuce water for washing, which is usually the case. There's no maras ayin prohibition involved in such a case, as you don't plan on eating anything here, and it's not being cooked together. However, if you do use yatzer lettuce water, such as in a meat dishwasher, then it is better not to wash it together with meat dishes due to maras ayin. Although one who is lenient does have upon whom to rely regarding a dishwasher. Although all in all, even if you only wash with water below yatzer lettuce, it's better just to wash the pumped breast milk bottle in a Milchig sink in order not to cause confusion and mix up. What if one time you added Materna, you added regular milk? So to avoid all these questions and potential problems, it's just better to designate it for the Milchig sink, even though technically it may be washed in the Milchig sink if no hot water is being used. Hashem, and a further halacha on this subject we will discuss until what age is it permitted for a child to nurse from his mother.
Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com. Our free services of making Torah knowledge available to the public depends on donors like you. Please help us continue our work through making even a small contribution at Shulchanaruchharav.com under the Daily Halacha Dedication section or in the subscription page. Also, check out our online courses and many sefarim available for purchase that will both enhance your Torah knowledge and help support our work.